Let's have a talk today about how to choose the best song to sing if you've never been singing before. Okay, so we're going to do how to choose the best song for you so that you can sing it, so that you feel comfortable singing it, so that it really fits for what you enjoy, the kinds of things that you like to sing, and that it's going to be a song that isn't going to be frustrating you. The difficulty with songs is they're all so different, and I have to tell you, a lot of the songs that people love, like the really popular songs, are super duper difficult. Now, what makes a song difficult? Well, a lack of singing experience will make any song a little bit difficult, okay? So the more singing that you do, the easier the songs that you choose will feel as you go along. But there are specific things that make a song extra difficult. And I want you to know some of those things so that when you're choosing songs, you can hone in on the ones that are a little bit simpler, that you can succeed at a little faster, that are quicker for you to learn, that aren't going to have you straining to hit certain notes. And one of the key factors is the range of the song. So some of you have heard this, right? What's your singing range, or what's the range of the song? If you haven't, all it means is where the lowest note and the highest note reach to. So that's like the range. In between those two notes is the range of the song. And a lot of easy songs have a range of 8 notes, which is called an octave. I actually watched The Sound of Music yesterday, which has a lovely explanation of the 8 notes in a normal octave, or scale they call it. Does anyone remember that? Do a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun. And it goes up, it goes do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And there's 8 notes, the do at the bottom and the do at the top and everything in between. And when you sing a song that only sits within those 8 notes, it's going to feel much easier. And that's really a key thing to look out for. Does the song feel like it's got lots of high notes? When you sing along, are there notes that you try to avoid to sing? And does it feel like it has extra low notes as well? Like, are you kind of speaking part of the song rather than singing it because it's below what feels comfortable to you? Now, when it comes to staying in tune, a lot of my students, one of the main reasons they find it difficult to stay in tune is that the song range is so big that when they're singing the low notes, they aren't actually within the student's range, your range. So if you have your notes that you sing really, really well, but then you try to sing the notes that are below that level, it's very difficult to get them to sound right. And the same thing if the notes are much higher than where you're comfortable singing at the moment. And bear in mind, each of us have a sweet spot for our voices. A part of our voice that we tend to sing quite well and that we feel comfortable in. So we wanted a song for the notes of a song, most of them to be within that sweet spot. And then we have to talk about keys. I'm not trying to confuse anyone. You know, if you haven't had any musical experience, you don't have to remember any of this, but it can be useful to start to familiarize yourself with some of this. It's just terminology, it's jargon. Your range is something you might not have heard before. The key of the song might be something that you've heard, but you don't really understand. And that's okay, okay? You don't need to understand everything to pick an easy song. So the first thing to notice is when you're listening to songs, is it easy for you to join in? Or does it seem like you can hit all the notes, or are you straining to hit high notes or low notes? If you have a favorite song where you're kind of straining to hit the high and low notes, then you might need to work on your voice and your technique before you'll sing that well. One thing that's really good for working on your voice is warming up. And it's not that hard. It's really, really, really easy. So tomorrow we're going to cover warming up in a lot more detail, and I want to really share with you the quick ways to warm up. So if you warm up your voice, or if you're singing a lot on one particular day, you might find, oh, I can hit those notes. But then you'll go to try and sing it another day and you'll be like, can't sing that at all right now. And that's normal. It's normal. We're people, okay? Our voices are made of, it's an organic instrument. It's not like something like a piano where you can leave it at this and play it one day a week for 5 minutes and it sounds virtually the same. Our voices actually are a bit more like, if you think about fitness, okay? If you really wanted to walk for 10 kilometers, it's very difficult to do that if you haven't done any exercise at all for a few weeks. But if you're doing like a kilometer or two every day, then we have no problem doing a more difficult walk every couple of weeks. And it's the same with singing. We need to be doing it regularly. You need to sing a lot for it to actually be easier. So is anybody watching feeling like this is relevant to you? Do you notice that your voice is sometimes better than others? Do you notice that you're hitting the high note that you want to hit one day, and then a week later when you go and try and sing it, it's not as good? Those are normal things. Like if you actually had an argument, or if you were a little bit upset about something, and there's a lot to be upset about at the moment, there's a lot of heartache going around in terms of like health issues that are happening. So how can you sing well when you're upset? It's really tough. It is tough. And it's absolutely normal for your voice to sound good one day and then a week later be shit. Apologies for the language. Even for me, that happens. Now, I'm lucky that because I teach students like most days in a week, I'm using my voice a lot and I'm practicing. So when I go to sing, it's a little bit quicker for me to access the good stuff. Yeah. So thank you all for some of the comments. Like the thing is that you have to be kind to your voice, okay? Your voice needs a little bit of coaxing to get better, okay? And it's almost like you're gonna go, come on, let's do this, okay? And we're gonna try and pick the song that if you try to want to sing a song by the end of this week in tune, today's the day to pick the easy song, okay? A song that doesn't have lots of high or low notes. So I'm going to be putting up a PDF in the group of a list of easy songs. Now, everybody's taste is very different in terms of what songs they like and what songs they don't like. And when students ask me to pick a song for them, I'm usually a little reluctant because I find that if I ask someone to bring me 3 or 4 songs that they like, 1 or 2 of them would be more easy. And then they're choosing songs that they love rather than one that I think they might be able for, okay? So my big thing with all of my teaching is that it should be for fun, right? I mean, why would you do it unless it was going to have some pleasure involved? So think of other songs that you listen to a lot or that you sing along to at home. Ask yourself, does it feel very easy to sing? Are there a lot of high or low notes? And if there are, maybe put that one aside. And even make a list of your favorite songs. Plan it a little bit. Print out the words of one of the songs that feels like it's within your sweet spot, your comfort zone, so that the range of notes isn't too wide. All right. Now, a key thing to look out for is sometimes if you're joining in along with a song that you love, but the singer is, say, a male, but you're female, sometimes those songs are a little trickier to be accurate and to learn properly because a man's voice sounds quite different, okay? We don't always have the same range within like male and female voices. And in fact, you could have two men and they won't have the same range at all. They'll have completely different notes that they sound best singing. So when you're choosing your easy song, try and pick something that the singer kind of sounds a little bit like you, and that you can join in with that it kind of feels like you are with them as you sing along, rather than kind of harmonizing them. Sometimes when we're joining in, we're not singing the right melody and it still sounds good. Why is that? Because some notes go together and they harmonize together. But, and I have to emphasize this, if you're singing harmonies along with the song, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to actually learn the correct melody. And sometimes the reason that you're singing a harmony to the song is that the range of that song doesn't actually fully suit your voice. So maybe it's a man singing and you're a girl, or maybe it's a man with a high voice but you're a man with a low voice. And that's absolutely normal. So when you're choosing your easy song, try and pick one that is a woman singing if you're a woman, with a similar range or similar tone to their voice. Try and find a voice that fits how your voice is. Now, some women have quite deep voices as well. As we get older, our voices do deepen. So some men's songs will fit. But it has to feel like you're joining in with the song, not harmonizing with it. Okay? Something just to keep in mind. Now, what you can do, if you love a song, like say you really love a Bob Dylan song, there's actually a lot of Bob Dylan songs that have been covered by female artists. So if you have a song that you particularly love and the singer doesn't have a similar voice to you, if you look it up on YouTube and look up female version or female cover, because like when they covered the song and it's not their own song, then you might find a version on YouTube that does fit your voice. Okay, so you can look all of that up. Fantastic. Okay, so we're nearly there. Now, the thing about some songs is they even if they're in your range, they can be very difficult in terms of the way the melody flows through the song. So I want to just point that out. Some songs, like for instance, some of the songs like The Greatest Showman, oh my goodness, are those hard songs. They are so hard. Because they have a huge range. They go very high and very low. But also the melodies move up and down a lot. They're not simple in terms of the way that the melody is stepping. So say for instance, something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It has a leap at the beginning. Twinkle, twinkle, goes up and with a leap. And then it goes up by one step up. Little star. So those are quite close together. And then they've got stepwise motion all the way down, step by step. How I wonder what you are. So there's not a lot of jumping in the main part of the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And if you're an absolute beginner and you don't know any songs yet, those kinds of songs, nursery rhymes, are actually brilliant to start with. Okay, you might get a bit frustrated. Most of my students don't stay on them for more than 2 or 3 weeks, but they make such a difference because they've got that easy melody, that step motion melody. So you're not going high, low, high, low. My body lies over the ocean, you know, where you're going up and down and up and down. So we want to avoid the really difficult melodies when you're choosing your easy songs. So let me just take a little look at my PDF here and some of the songs that I tend to recommend to people. So I mentioned Bob Dylan earlier, and Blowing in the Wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. So the actual, even that chorus is moving only a few notes up and down. It's not going high, low, and that can make it an easy song. So that one is on that list, okay? Another one that I love is The Rose. Now, The Rose, Bette Midler sang it, and the melody isn't that easy, but it's repetitious. So once you learn it, it's the same melody throughout the song, okay? So I want you to think about that does it sound similar the whole way through, or are there lots of moving parts, lots of changes in the song? In the rows, some say love, which is like very simple, like step motion. Some say love, it is a river that drowns a tender reed. They're kind of close together, those notes. Some say love, it is a razor that leads your soul to bleed. Exact same melody twice in a row. Some say love, it is a hunger. Similar, but not the same. An endless aching need. Oh, one low note. Make sure you don't start too low. I say love, it is a flower, that's it, and you, it's only seed. And once you learn that melody well, that's the same melody throughout the whole song. So that's why that one will be considered an easy song. Another one that I love to tell people about is Ride On by Moore Coughlin, and that's like an Irish song. Christy Moore would have done the original version. Ride on, see you, I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. So the notes are quite close together. Ride on, see you. So it's the same melody twice there. Oh yeah, that's the chorus actually. So that's a nice one. I know some people watching have been doing that one. How about Stand By Me by the Benny King? When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. Okay, so what happened to me there? I started the song a little low and didn't anticipate that it actually went lower than my start note. So it felt a little bit low for my voice. And this can happen, you know, if we're learning a song but we're not singing along to the recording. We might be singing it on our own, and then every now and again it will feel like there's nowhere to go, that you feel like you've gotten stuck, like almost like you've dug a little hole and you can't get out again. So we need to always find the best starting note for us. So for that one, I would probably say I need to start that a little higher. I started down here, so if I want to find a new starting note, I'm going to hum upwards. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. And that C now feels like it's well within the sweet spot of my voice. So you have to be able to adjust. When we're starting a song and the rest of the song goes lower than the starting note, we need to start the song on a higher note to leave space below us to be able to sing it. And then there's songs that have sections that are very high and very low. So if any of you love the song Danny Boy and you're absolutely a beginner, I don't really recommend it, because the verse is low and then the chorus is really high. I think that's how it goes. And it's really, really difficult to start on the correct note to sound good the whole way through. So let's see, is there any other song in here I wanted to mention to you? Oh, John Denver, how about this one? Almost Heaven, West Virginia. I don't know this one. Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. I know. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. But the majority of the song isn't high, but it does have that one high note there on the higher note, I would say. I wouldn't say it's all that high. But you could feel how it felt comfortable for a lot of that verse and the chorus. So some of you might be wondering, how do I know all the words to all these songs? And you know, I love lyrics. Sometimes people don't listen to the lyrics of the song. They listen to the song as a general kind of sound. But I always like listening to what the message or the story of the song is, which means that I tune into lyrics more than other people do, and I learn them because of that. Most people, when they're learning a song, they underestimate how much actual learning is involved. Like, they think they know it before they really, really know it. So if you like some of the songs on the list I'm going to give you, my suggestion would be to please print off the words. Now, don't just use your phone to look at the words, okay? Print them off and put it into some kind of a folder that you have access to. So if you're learning Country Roads, you choose Country Roads. That second verse, you might forget that one. So you might need to look at that more. You might need to think about the meaning of that section, and think of the visuals within that section. So how to learn a song is like a whole course that I teach. But if you can at least print off the words, you're going to actually have a visual of where that song is going. And even having it in sections. So I do have a few students that don't have access to a printer. And one of them, it's so funny, when he's writing out the lyrics of a song, he writes it out like as if it's a story, as in like it's one word, one line. So it'll be like almost how much Virginia, so it's almost like he gets the first verse on 2 lines. It's far better to have it in such a way that each phrase is on its own line. Almost heaven, West Virginia. Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains. So it's going in phrases that you can easily see what each phrase is about, and they look separated. And then when you go to the chorus where you go country roads, you leave your space and you put your country roads section. So you see the sections of the song. That means that you have a structure that you can learn the song with, and it starts to feel a little bit more doable. It's not just I'm learning a whole song. No, you're learning a line, you're learning a phrase. Now you've learned a verse. Now that you know the verse, now you learn the chorus. So you've got these bite-sized pieces that you can start to learn. So print out the words. That's one of the top tips for learning songs. And visualizing the story. That's one of my absolute favorite ways to do it. Okay, what else did I have to tell you about today? I'm just making sure I'm looking at my notes here. I've got the PDF I'm going to send to everyone. I mean, it'll be in the Facebook group. It'll be in the email. So most of you have already signed up for the follow-up emails for today's class. So if you don't have, if you don't get an email from me, let me know and I'll make sure that you get the link so that you can download the PDF. And putting it into the group as I think it's a picture because it doesn't take PDFs. We've gone through just about everything I wanted to go through. Any questions or comments, just pop them in there. I'm really happy to see Lisa's been watching, Jennifer, Anne, Charlotte, great to see you from the US, Rekha from Delhi in India, Des, it's actually 10:30 at night in Delhi, so thanks to Rekha for joining. Tina, great to see you. Lovely to have you join me live. I really appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, just definitely put some of your comments still into the below, and I'll get to take a look at those over the next day. And I look forward to seeing some of you again tomorrow when we're going to cover the way to warm up your voice. So have a little think about your song today. Think about songs that you enjoy. Are they very high and very low? Get the words printed off if you can, or write them out in sections, phrase by phrase. And I'm going to help you tomorrow to get your voice where you want it to be. And just know, right, your voice can improve. Sometimes we think that the voice we have today that's it. It's not the same way. Just the same way that you can get fitter. If you start walking every day and you haven't been walking, in a year's time, you're going to feel fitter. So it's really important that you start to know that it's possible to learn to sing. It is a skill, not just a talent. And I'm really happy that you're joining me on this path to learning to sing.